What's it like going through a U.S. Coast Guard small passenger vessel inspection? Well, I can tell you that at first I was really nervous about the whole procedure. So what my husband and first mate Bill and I did was the weekend before, we actually practiced everything that we thought that they might ask us to do. We put the boat and ourselves through our paces. You can watch that video. I'll leave a link to that above. It was all about us practicing for the inspection. But now the day of the actual inspection had come, and everything that we had practiced, I am so glad that we practiced. We practiced man overboard over and over and over. We practiced fire drills over and over. And also, as I operate the boat, I'm always thinking, what if? What if a fire breaks out here? What if a fire breaks out there? I'm always putting my mind through those scenarios, and I think that helps a lot when it comes to actually having to practice or come up with a plan, because you know what's possible, you've thought it through, you have some idea of what actions you could take if an emergency came up. The first drill that we did was we headed out and we did a man overboard drill. They threw a cushion, and it wasn't the whole heavy dummy that they use sometimes, like I showed you in the last video. And afterward, once we had done a very good job with it, I asked, what if it had been the dummy? What if it was an actual person? Because on this boat we don't have anywhere for block and tackle to bring someone back up on board. And they said in the warmer waters in Florida, it would be acceptable to lash them and tie them to the side of the boat and bring them back, as long as their head was above water, bring them back to a dock or bring them back to where we could stage them into somebody else's boat and then up on shore. And that was one of the things I thought about. What boats are operating around us? Are there any docks that are close by that we could go to for help that has a ladder? Or is there somewhere shallow where we could beach the boat? Or is there someone around who has a dinghy and we could actually get somebody up into the dinghy? Now, we'll tell you that the live practice happened after. First, they went through every single thing on the boat, and I mean every last item. They went through every single life jacket, PFDs. They went through every single item in the first aid kit. And actually, in the first aid kit, the eye wash had been out of date and that had already been replaced, so we didn't have to worry about that. I was pretty worried when they were looking at all of the PFDs, because in looking at those, they actually pull them like they're trying to tear them. And some of them did have a little bit of discoloration from the sun, and I was worried, what if they were slightly rotten, and what if a good yank could tear them? And it's good that they do that, because that way, if there is any piece of equipment that's not completely up to par, they're going to find it, and we had spares ready to put in. The actual certificate, it was interesting when they went through all of our paperwork. We tend to take the old paperwork and put it behind the new, just so that we have copies of it. Got to some of our old paperwork, they actually pulled it and said, you don't have to keep these old inspections, that everything is maintained as we want it anyway. I was nervous having these people on board looking through every single thing. I felt board procedure, and they could see that we had perfected our routine, that we definitely had a plan, that they didn't make us go through the firefighting procedure. We were ready to use the buckets, all of that. They also were going to pull another thing at the dock, and once they saw how tight the spot is that I have to get the boat into, they didn't do that. In all, nothing to be scared of. Practice ahead of time, and you too will receive your certificate of inspection. I hope you found this useful. The most important thing we learned was exactly what we did. Practice in advance. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you in the next one. Bye!